I've always been a proprietor of hiring people who have more knowledge than you, hiring people who have done the work and who have been in the position. The person I had hired was actually a person from Google. They had worked at YouTube, they had worked at Google as a recruiter. They understood how the hiring committee worked, they understood how the compensation team worked, and they were able to help me negotiate a rate, a compensation that I felt was fair for my skills. And I understood too, your most negotiation power will always be during the hiring process, right? Whenever you work at big tech, whenever you work at a company, of course you'll get raises, of course you'll get promoted, all these great things, but most of your power, it comes during the negotiation process. So if I give you any advice right now, if you're ever looking for a role and you're about to get hired at another job, always maximize the negotiation process, because that's where your most power is, right? I know though that I was going to a big tech company that has deep pockets, right? I know it's a little different if you work at like a startup or a smaller firm, or you don't have any work experience. It's hard to negotiate that process because they're very strict on you, right? They understand that, hey, we don't have much money. This is what the budget we got from finance, from HR. This is all we can do, right? So keep that in mind, right? I did come to negotiate with a big tech company that has deep pockets. So if you're ever getting a new role, if you're ever trying to make the most money, always negotiate, right? Understand that you are the most important asset for the company at that time, because they are trying to acquire resources, which is talent, and you are that talent. And they've exhausted a lot of resources through interviewing, through HR, when it came to reviewing, screening resumes. They want your headcount. They want you to come on board to get that job. They want you to take that offer. So you have the most negotiation and leverage during the time of offer negotiation, offer acceptance. So I want you guys to maximize negotiation. If you want that really high paying W-2 job that will help you get into that top 1% earning and income, really focus on that. So that was kind of like the key skills, right? Excellent negotiation when it came to negotiating my offer. Equity appreciation, allowing equity to appreciate for my stocks, because I believe in the company so much. I allowed that equity to just, once invested, kept it there, did not touch it. And then thirdly was bonus. I did well in the company. I was able to also get peer bonuses just from doing a great job on certain projects and tasks, and that helped increase my bonus as well during that $300,000 W-2 job. Next thing we're going to transition to was 1099 income. For those of you who are curious about 1099 income is essentially like contracting income or income through consulting, whatever it may be. For me, I had companies reach out to me saying, hey, we enjoy your project management, your product management work. Can you please help consult, right? So I would charge about $100 an hour for consulting, sometimes more. And by doing this, I was able to have excess income from consulting. I basically found there's tech companies who wanted me to consult for them. I had utilities, other firms that wanted me to consult for them. Really, it was just doing project management work on a sole contributor basis, right? It wasn't managing or leading teams. It was helping out on the technology side for project and program management. For me, I was doing a lot of reporting, looking at a lot of the financials, the reporting when it came to data on Tableau, on Power BI, and this helped me generate about $100 an hour, right? So usually most weeks you charge $100 an hour, about $4,000 a week. Sometimes you charge more depending on who the client is, and then you'll probably work with multiple firms if you're very in demand of that nature. Kind of see yourself as a product that you're able to scale, right? Unfortunately, as a human being, you're only able to scale so much of your time, but fortunately for us, being remote allows us to scale more so of your time than being kind of in person. That's how I would work. I would always charge a high fee, high rate. The reason I was able to charge a high fee and high rate was because I had the Google experience. I also have a master's from UCLA Anderson. So by being kind of highly sought after, by being associated with these institutions like Google, like UCLA, I was able to charge much higher. There is a fascinating thing with marketing, is that if you're starting out and you don't have much experience, you need to hit your sail onto a boat that is much bigger and has done well. For me, that was UCLA, the #1 public school in the world. That was Google, one of the most sought after companies in the world, especially probably the most dominant search engine in the world, right? So I always hitched my sail to something I felt was more successful. By doing that, I was able to get credibility. They saw that it's not easy getting to UCLA. It's not easy getting to Google. So if you're able to pitch your sail to that, if you're able to really kind of show that you are a part of that community, that prestigious employer, people are more likely to trust you because they know how hard it is to get into that role. It's like if you got into the NBA or NFL and people ask you for football advice or basketball advice, like you're more or less going to trust that person because they've worked their whole lives to achieve that dream and get into that association or that league. So you're like, all right, well, they actually practice what they preach. I believe them. There's so many times we'll hire coaches or people who've never done something, and then we're more likely to just take their advice because we're like, oh, they're a great person, we believe in them. But because they've never achieved XYZ, it's like, can you really take their advice, or should I just really kind of blow them off? For me, I've achieved this working at these large corporations and going to school at this #1 school in the world, so it was easy for me to pitch myself as someone who has achieved something in their life, and I was very proud of that. How do you get these 1099 jobs? A lot of agencies, believe it or not, will reach out to you. So look into agencies who are hiring for certain roles, like if you're a nurse, look into healthcare agencies. If you're a business analyst or business person, look into these agencies, because a lot of companies, they'll have headcount to hire for a contractor or consultant because they need help with certain projects or programs. They may be temporary or they could be long-term, just depends on what the company is and what their needs are. And if you're able to land these roles, they pay rather well. You can either get paid W-2 or 1099. If you go with the 1099, I do recommend that you set up a sole proprietor or an S corporation as well as a business bank account, so that way you can actually generate income and get money through that business bank account, and it'll be more tax advantageous for you rather than having the money deposited to your certain bank account. Because if you just deposit the money to the bank account, then you more or less are likely you'll be taxed a lot more. Don't make that mistake. Most people, especially when they start working on a certain role, they get to YouTube, they get into consulting, whatever it may be, they'll just connect their personal bank account to the account associated with where they're being paid. And then what this does is that it makes it very hard for you to separate business expenses. That's one big thing I need to give you guys advice on. Always separate business expenses from your normal expenses, right? So if you ever get a job, a new full-time role, separate those business expenses from your job. By doing so, you're able to just show your accountant, okay, this is business expense, let's write this off, right? The way you do this is you just go to the bank, tell them, hey, I want to open a business account, go online, open a sole proprietorship, takes you like 20-30 minutes to do, and open a business account and you get the bank. You do everything in one whole day, and then make sure you have a business debit or business credit card, so that way all the expenses associated with the business will be on that account, and then you won't have to worry about mixing or merging accounts, because that is probably one of the bigger things that gets you in trouble during tax season, and it just makes your accounting so much harder. So always start a sole proprietorship LLC whenever you're going to do this 1099 income. So for those of you who are watching my channel right now, my channel is heavily focused on business, finance, investing. So I want you guys to make sure that you separate your accounts if you do choose to go the entrepreneurship route and you choose to like kind of create and build finances and business for yourself. That is one of the bigger things to do. Keep that in mind whenever you're trying to invest, whenever you're trying to start 1099 income. I want to go over again on how to get these 1099 jobs. These 1099 jobs are consulting jobs, consulting roles. There's 3 main websites really where you can find them. It's just, one is Indeed.com. You have a lot of like agencies post certain roles on Indeed.com, and Indeed.com, my advice is just type in whatever role you're trying to apply for. So like if you're a program manager, say in the San Francisco Bay Area, type in program manager and then location to San Francisco, and you'll just see a whole bunch of roles that will either be W-2 roles, which are like full-time jobs, or 1099 roles. Usually if you look up the company and it's an agency, that is most likely a consulting gig or consulting role where they're trying to hire someone. And if you look up the company and it's like, say it says Stripe, says Google, stuff like that, that's most likely W-2 role. That's a full-time job.